Beloved, there are moments in life when heaven chooses to interrupt our ordinary, our routine, and our expectations. It might come as a knock at your door, a call you weren't expecting, or a message you never thought would arrive. But in that interruption is God's signature, divine orchestration meant to shift everything in your favor. Tonight, I want you to hear this clearly. God is speaking to the chosen ones, those who are awake, alert, and ready to step into destiny. And he says, someone is coming to your door, a surprise that will change everything. I want to begin with a story from my own journey. There were seasons when doors seemed closed, when opportunities felt delayed, when I wondered if destiny had paused. And then unexpectedly, someone arrived, a messenger, a connection, a word that carried divine authority. It shifted my direction. It accelerated my purpose. And I realized that the delay was not denial. It was preparation. That moment taught me that heaven often works in the realm of the unexpected. God uses surprise because it awakens faith. You cannot prepare for it entirely. You can only position your heart to respond. The person coming to your door may not look like what you imagined. They may carry a message, a blessing, a challenge, or even a correction. But the point is this: the arrival is intentional and it is timely. God's timing is always perfect, even when it defies logic, reason, or human expectation. Now, here is the critical question. Are you ready to receive it? Spiritual preparedness is not just about cleanliness of heart. It is about attentiveness, sensitivity, and alignment. Are you listening for the knock? Are you expecting God to move in ways you cannot predict? Are you willing to step aside from your routines and familiar patterns so that heaven can work freely through this surprise? This is where faith is tested, where readiness meets revelation, and where ordinary moments become extraordinary miracles. Receiving this divine appointment requires discernment. Do not rush it. Do not question it with doubt. And do not allow fear to dictate your response. Instead, lean into the Spirit, pay attention to the timing, and recognize that what is arriving is meant to catapult you forward. Breakthrough often comes disguised as surprise, and God is calling you to recognize the disguise and respond with courage. And finally, responding with authority is essential. A divine surprise will only transform your life if you act. You must walk into it boldly, speak the words of faith, and embrace the opportunity with gratitude and confidence. Many people hesitate at the threshold of blessing because they are unsure or afraid, but the chosen ones step forward. They respond without hesitation, knowing that God is already ahead of them, preparing the way. Beloved, the message is simple, but the impact is profound. Someone is coming to your door, and the moment of arrival will not be ordinary. It will be transformative. Open your heart, prepare your space, align your spirit. And when heaven's surprise appears, receive it without delay, without doubt, and without fear. Because this is your moment, your shift, your breakthrough. Heaven is orchestrating it, and all you have to do is step into the destiny that awaits you. Rise, chosen ones. Your surprise is on its way. Be ready, be bold, and be faithful. Everything is about to change. Beloved, the first thing I want you to understand is that a divine knock is never random. Heaven orchestrates every detail, every timing, every movement. When someone comes to your door unexpectedly, it is not coincidence. It is appointment. God is intentional, and his appointments are designed to accelerate your destiny. Too often, we dismiss interruptions as distractions, when in reality, they are opportunities wrapped in mystery. I want you to imagine this with me. Your day is moving along, ordinary and predictable, and suddenly there is a knock. It startles you. You weren't expecting anyone. Your mind races through possibilities, neighbors, deliveries, friends, but then a subtle awareness hits your spirit. There is something different about this knock, something weighty, something beyond human explanation. That is heaven signaling. That is God's timing intersecting your moment. In my own life, I have experienced moments like this. I have been in rooms where my mind was consumed with schedules, deadlines, and responsibilities, and yet God used a single arrival, an unexpected visitor, a prophetic word, a divine connection to shift the trajectory of my life. What seemed like a coincidence turned out to be a carefully orchestrated encounter designed to propel me into a new season. And I realized then that heaven rarely announces itself with fanfare. It moves quietly, sometimes subtly, but always with power. The divine knock often comes when you are least prepared, and that is intentional. God wants to see if your faith is flexible, if your heart is responsive, if your spirit is ready to recognize and receive what He has prepared. It is in those unexpected moments that destiny is revealed. You cannot control the timing, but you can position yourself to respond. You can cultivate sensitivity, attentiveness, and an openness that allows heaven to flow through ordinary circumstances. Understand that when God orchestrates a visit, He is bringing more than just a person. He is bringing revelation, opportunity, and sometimes even a shift that alters the very course of your life. The knock is more than a sound, it is an invitation, a divine summons to step into a new season of favor, blessing, and breakthrough. The question is not whether the knock will come, but whether you are ready to answer it with faith, boldness, and obedience. This is why I am speaking to you now. Too many miss heaven because they are distracted, inattentive, or skeptical. They fail to recognize the appointment because it does not arrive in the form they expected. But the chosen ones, the ones who are awake, alert, and prepared, will hear the knock, perceive the moment, and respond with authority. Your readiness, your willingness, and your faith will determine whether this encounter remains ordinary or becomes extraordinary. So listen, chosen one, position your heart, open your spirit, and prepare your life. The knock is coming, and when it arrives, it will not just be a visitor, it will be a messenger of destiny, a harbinger of favor, a turning point that changes everything. Heaven is at work. Are you ready to respond? Beloved, the second point is this: the power of surprise is one of God's most strategic tools. He often works in ways we do not anticipate because the element of the unexpected forces our faith to rise above familiarity. Routine dulls perception, predictability numbs the spirit, and comfort can create spiritual blind spots. But when God introduces surprise, He demands your attention, awakens your senses, and invites you into a new realm of possibility that you could not have planned for on your own. Think about it for a moment. Some of the greatest moments in your life likely came when you were least expecting them. Opportunities, breakthroughs, divine connections, they rarely announce themselves with a schedule. They arrive suddenly, often in forms you wouldn't have imagined. That is the genius of God's timing. The surprise itself is designed to spark a response, a movement of faith that propels you forward. Heaven uses surprise to reveal what is in your heart, to test your readiness, and to unlock doors that have been closed for seasons. I remember a season in my own life when a door I thought was permanently closed suddenly swung open in a way I never anticipated. I had prayed, strategized, and even doubted, but the breakthrough came from an entirely unexpected source: a conversation, a referral, a connection that seemed accidental. And in that moment, I realized that God's surprises are never random. They are orchestrated with divine precision. The arrival of the unexpected was actually a signal of God's favor and a catalyst for destiny. The power of surprise also removes the dependency on human logic. Many of us are conditioned to wait for clarity, to seek approval, or to follow plans that make sense to the natural mind. But God often works outside the parameters of human understanding because what He is about to do requires a level of faith and obedience that defies ordinary reasoning. The surprise forces you to trust Him, to step without seeing, and to act without full comprehension. That is when miracles manifest. When your faith aligns with God's timing rather than your own expectations. Surprise also magnifies gratitude. When something unexpected shows up, it reminds you that you are not in control, but that you are deeply cared 4. Heaven's surprises are gifts, appointments, and divine interventions wrapped in ways that demand acknowledgement. They are reminders that God is actively involved in your life, orchestrating outcomes you could not have orchestrated for yourself. Beloved, the chosen ones will not be caught off guard by these divine surprises. They will recognize them, embrace them, and move boldly. They understand that when God introduces the unexpected, it is not chaos, it is opportunity. It is not coincidence, it is strategy. And it is never ordinary. It is the very moment where heaven intersects earth to change your life forever. Are you ready to receive what God has planned? Are you prepared to see the ordinary become extraordinary through His surprise? Now, let us consider the third point, preparing for the unseen visitor. Preparation is not just about cleaning your house or opening your door. It is about creating an environment, both spiritually and emotionally, where God can move freely. Too often, we are so focused on the external that we forget the internal. Heaven requires readiness of heart, clarity of mind, and alignment of spirit in order to manifest its purposes fully. The visitor who is coming is not merely bringing news. They are bringing a transfer, a shift, a moment that could redefine the course of your life. I want you to imagine this: your doorbell rings, and standing there is someone who holds the key to a season of favor, opportunity, or revelation that you have been waiting for. What is the first thing that determines whether that encounter will bless you or pass you by? Preparation. If your spirit is anxious, your heart distracted, or your mind preoccupied, you might dismiss the moment or fail to recognize its significance. But if you are ready, poised, and aligned, the visitor becomes a conduit of destiny rather than a casual interruption. Preparation also means positioning yourself in expectation, not desperation. God does not reward panic or frantic activity. He honors posture, attentiveness, and faith. Are you walking in integrity? Are you attentive to His Spirit? Are you willing to let go of fear, doubt, and distraction so that you can see clearly, receive fully, and respond wisely? These are the questions that determine how effectively you can receive the unseen blessings that are coming through this divine appointment. I remember a time in my own life when an opportunity appeared seemingly out of nowhere. It was not a result of my effort alone, but of a season of preparation I had invested in spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. I had been praying, listening, and positioning myself in alignment with God's principles. And when the moment arrived, I recognized it immediately. The surprise could have passed unnoticed if I had not been prepared. That is the power of readiness, the ability to recognize the extraordinary in the ordinary, the divine in the unexpected. Preparation also involves removing obstacles that hinder reception, old habits, lingering unforgiveness, unresolved doubts, and spiritual distractions can all block the flow of divine encounters. Heaven will not force its way into a resistant heart. The visitor at your door cannot deliver what is meant for you if your spirit is congested or distracted. You must create space spiritually, emotionally, and mentally to receive fully what God has ordained for this season. Beloved, the chosen ones are those who understand that preparation is not passive, it is active, intentional, and deliberate. You cannot wait for divine appointments to arrive while living unprepared, distracted, or misaligned. You must cultivate sensitivity, attentiveness, and readiness. Align your heart, calm your mind, open your spirit. And when the visitor arrives, you will not only recognize the moment, you will seize it, embrace it, and allow it to transform your destiny completely. Now, let us focus on the fourth point, receiving your breakthrough. Receiving is more than a passive act. It is an intentional response to God's timing and orchestration. Often blessings, opportunities, and divine shifts arrive in forms we do not anticipate, and they require not just awareness, but readiness to act, embrace, and step into what God is releasing. The visitor at your door may carry news, a connection, or a resource that has the potential to alter your life. But the true power of that encounter is unlocked only when you respond with faith, courage, and discernment. I want you to imagine this moment vividly. The knock at your door is no longer just sound, it is an announcement from heaven. It is a divine signal that what you have been praying, hoping, and believing for is about to intersect with your life. Your response will determine whether this moment becomes a temporary surprise or a permanent turning point. Receiving your breakthrough requires recognizing that God is the source, the orchestrator, and the power behind this moment. It is not about the person standing in front of you. It is about the hand of God moving through them. In my own journey, there were seasons when opportunities appeared, but I almost missed them because I questioned their timing or underestimated their significance. The breakthrough was there, ready to shift my trajectory, but if I had hesitated, it might have passed unnoticed. That experience taught me that divine encounters demand decisive action. God honors those who are willing to step forward, speak boldly, and receive what He is offering without reservation or doubt. Receiving also requires humility. Sometimes the blessings that come are wrapped in unexpected ways through people, circumstances, or even challenges that at first seem inconvenient. The chosen ones understand that God's methods are not always predictable, but His purposes are always perfect. You may need to bend, adjust, or move outside of your comfort zone to fully receive. Your flexibility, trust, and willingness to embrace the unknown will determine the fullness of the breakthrough you are about to encounter. Moreover, receiving your breakthrough demands gratitude. Recognize that every divine encounter is a gift, not a guarantee. Heaven's blessings are not transactional, they are relational. When you respond with thankfulness, faith, and reverence, you create a spiritual atmosphere in which the breakthrough can flourish and multiply. The visitor at your door is a messenger, but you are the steward. How you respond will dictate the impact, longevity, and fruitfulness of this encounter. Beloved, the chosen ones are not passive spectators in divine moments. They lean in, they recognize opportunity, and they respond with authority and faith. When someone comes to your door, it is not merely a coincidence. It is a divine assignment, a catalyst for destiny, a surprise designed to elevate, transform, and propel you into the next season of your life. Be ready to receive fully with clarity, courage, and unwavering faith, knowing that heaven has arranged this moment specifically for you. Finally, let us focus on the fifth point, responding with faith and authority. Receiving a divine surprise is not the conclusion, it is the beginning of action. God never releases a moment of favor, a breakthrough, or an appointment without expecting a response. The visitor at your door will present an opportunity, a word, or a resource, but it is your faith, your obedience, and your boldness that will transform that encounter from a fleeting moment into a life-altering shift. Faith is not passive belief. It is active engagement with the unseen realities of God. When the unexpected arrives, your spirit must move before your circumstances fully align. There will be times when the path is unclear, the door seems unfamiliar, or the message feels overwhelming. That is precisely when faith must rise, the courage to step forward, to embrace the unknown, and to act in alignment with God's purpose. Faith turns surprise into breakthrough. Faith transforms opportunity into destiny. Authority is the companion of faith. You are not called to sit idly while heaven works. You are called to partner with God in the manifestation of His plans. Authority is not arrogance. It is the confidence that comes from knowing who God is, what He has promised, and that you are positioned to steward His purposes. When the knock at your door comes, step boldly, speak with discernment, and act with intentionality. Your obedience is the key that unlocks the fullness of what God has orchestrated. I remember a season in my life when a seemingly ordinary encounter became extraordinary simply because I chose to respond decisively. The person who arrived carried a message I had been praying for, but I had to act on it immediately. If I had hesitated, questioned, or delayed, the opportunity might have been lost. That experience taught me that divine surprises require rapid alignment between revelation and action. Heaven meets readiness with acceleration. Responding also means embracing risk, not recklessness, but a willingness to move beyond comfort zones, to release control, and to trust in God's orchestration. The chosen ones are those who understand that the moment of divine surprise may challenge their plans, their assumptions, or their expectations. But that challenge is the very mechanism through which transformation occurs. Beloved, the call is clear when someone comes to your door. Do not shrink back. Do not hesitate. Step forward with faith, exercise your authority, and embrace the opportunity with gratitude and courage. This is how divine surprises become permanent shifts. This is how ordinary moments become extraordinary breakthroughs. This is how destiny is fulfilled. Heaven is knocking. Your response will determine the impact, the fruitfulness, and the glory that follows. Be ready, be bold, and be faithful, for everything is about to change. Now, let us consider the 6 point living in a state of continual readiness. This is not about occasional preparation or sporadic moments of alertness. It is about cultivating a lifestyle where your heart, mind, and spirit are always aligned with God's timing. The chosen ones understand that divine encounters do not arrive on a predictable schedule. They are spontaneous, sudden, and often disruptive to our routines. The question is not whether the moment will come, but whether you are consistently prepared to recognize it, receive it, and act upon it with clarity and faith. Readiness begins internally. It is the condition of your heart, the clarity of your mind, and the attentiveness of your spirit that determines whether you will perceive God's appointments. Are you cultivating sensitivity to his voice? Are you removing distractions that dull spiritual awareness? Are you living in integrity, humility, and obedience so that heaven's timing finds you in a state that is receptive rather than resistant? These internal disciplines are the unseen work that positions you to respond to divine surprises when they arrive. I have witnessed firsthand how preparation in the unseen realm produces fruit in the seen realm. There were moments when opportunities appeared out of nowhere, doors opened, people arrived, resources were released, but they intersected my life fully only because I had been cultivating spiritual discipline, attentiveness, and alignment. Without that readiness, the opportunities could have passed unnoticed, misunderstood, or mismanaged. This is why the chosen ones do not rely on luck or chance. They cultivate readiness as a lifestyle. Readiness also requires discernment. Not every arrival, not every opportunity, and not every moment of excitement comes from God. Some will test you, some will stretch you, and some may challenge your wisdom. But the spiritually prepared heart discerns the difference. It recognizes the genuine from the counterfeit, the strategic from the superficial, and the divine from the distracting. Discernment is the companion of readiness. It ensures that when heaven moves, you are not only awake, but aligned and capable of responding rightly. Finally, continual readiness demands perseverance. There will be seasons when it feels like nothing is happening, when doors seem closed, when days feel ordinary. Yet it is in those seasons that the chosen ones continue to pray, prepare, and position themselves. They do not grow weary. They do not shrink back. They understand that heaven often builds momentum in silence before releasing breakthrough in fullness. Your faithfulness in preparation, even when it feels unseen, ensures that when the knock comes, you are not caught off guard. Beloved, the call is urgent and clear. Cultivate a state of continual readiness. Let your heart be attentive, your spirit sensitive, and your life aligned. Practice discernment. Persevere in faith. And when the divine surprise arrives, when heaven's appointment intersects with your life, you will be prepared to step forward decisively, receive fully, and embrace the transformation that God has ordained. The chosen ones do not wait for destiny to find them. They position themselves to meet it, fully alert, fully ready, and fully aligned. Now, Let us focus on the seventh point, embracing the unexpected with courage and confidence. Many of us are conditioned to fear what we cannot predict, to hesitate when the path is unclear, and to cling to the familiar rather than step into the unknown. But God's surprises are never meant to intimidate, they are meant to awaken faith, stretch vision, and expand destiny. The visitor coming to your door will challenge your comfort zones, disrupt your routines, and invite you to step into a place of trust that you have not fully exercised before. Courage is essential in this moment because breakthroughs often arrive disguised as uncertainty. The messenger may not look like what you expected. The opportunity may not appear in the way you planned, and the timing may defy logic. Yet the chosen ones respond with boldness, knowing that the divine orchestration behind the moment is greater than any hesitation or fear. Courage allows you to see beyond appearances, to hear beyond words, and to act beyond circumstances. Confidence is equally necessary. This is not self-confidence, but spiritual confidence, the unwavering assurance that God is in control, that his purposes are perfect, and that he has prepared you for this moment. Confidence anchors your faith when doubt whispers, steadies your steps when uncertainty arises, and empowers your response when the visitor arrives. Without confidence, hesitation can delay blessings, and missed opportunities can become regrets. I remember a season in my own life when an unexpected encounter demanded that I trust without complete understanding. The circumstances seemed unusual, the timing inconvenient, and yet the moment carried the fingerprints of God. I had to step forward with courage and embrace what I could not yet see fully. That one decision shifted the trajectory of my life. I realized then that divine surprises are invitations to bold action, and only those willing to move decisively experience the full impact. Embracing the unexpected also requires flexibility. God may be moving in ways that do not conform to your expectations, and the chosen ones understand that flexibility is not weakness, it is responsiveness to divine guidance. When you release rigid control over outcomes, you make space for heaven to work. You allow God's plans to unfold unhindered, and you position yourself to receive the fullness of what he has prepared. Beloved, this is a moment for courage, confidence, and flexibility. The visitor at your door is more than a person. They are a divine appointment, a catalyst for destiny, a key to breakthrough. When you embrace the unexpected with faith, boldness, and trust, you open the door to opportunities that can transform your life. Step forward without fear, move decisively without hesitation, trust completely without reservation. The chosen ones do not shrink from the unknown. They rise to meet it fully prepared, fully confident, and fully aligned with heaven's purposes.